Yang Ho was desirous of having an interview with Confucius, but on the latter's failing to go and see him, he sent a present of a pig to his house. Confucius went to return his acknowledgments for it at a time when he was not at home. They met, however, on the way. He said to Confucius, "Come, I want a word with you." Can that man be said to have goodwill towards his fellow men who hugs and hides his own precious gifts and allows his country to go on in blind error? He cannot, was the reply. And can he be said to be wise who, with a liking for taking part in the public service, is constantly letting slip his opportunities? He cannot, was the reply again. And the days and months are passing, and the years do not wait for us. True, said Confucius, I will take office. Footnote 1. Chief Minister of the Qi family. It was a remark of the master that while by nature we approximate towards each other, by experience we go far asunder. Footnote 1. These are among the very first words in the first lesson book of all Chinese children. Again, only the supremely wise and the most deeply ignorant do not alter. The master once, on his arrival at Wuxing, heard the sound of stringed instruments and singing. His face beamed with pleasure, and he said laughingly, "To kill a cock why use an ox knife?" Ziyu, the governor, replied, "In former days, sir, I heard you say, let the superior man learn right principles, and he will be loving to other men. Let the ordinary person learn right principles, and he will be easily managed." The master, turning to his disciples, said, "Sirs, what he says is right. What I said just now was only in play." Footnote 1. The town, over which a former disciple, Ziyu, was governor Sibu 6.12, was only a small one, and the remark was suggestive of great measures having been taken to make it so peaceful. The remark was evidently made to the governor himself. Having received an invitation from Kongshan Fujiao, who was in revolt against the government and was holding to his district of Pai, the master showed an inclination to go. Xilu was averse to this and said, "You can never go, that is certain. How should you feel you must go to that person?" "Well," said the master, "he who has invited me must surely not have done so without a sufficient reason. And if it should happen that my services were enlisted, I might create for him another East Chow, don't you think so?" Footnote 1. The incident seems naturally to follow the last. The town of Wuxing was in this district of Pai. Footnote 2. As King Wan did at the founding of the dynasty. However, he did not go, and his conversation with Zilu, as in the former paragraph, seems to have been mere banter. Zichong asked Confucius about the virtue of philanthropy. His answer was, "It is the being able to put in practice 5 qualities in any place under the sun." "May I ask, please, what these are?" said the disciple. "They are," he said, "dignity, indulgence, faithfulness, earnestness, kindness. If you show dignity, you will not be mocked. If you are indulgent, you will win the multitude. If faithful, men will place their trust in you. If earnest, you will do something meritorious. And if kind, you will be enabled to avail yourself amply of men's services." Pihi sent the master an invitation, and he showed an inclination to go. Zilu, seeing this, said to him, "In former days, sir, I have heard you say, a superior man will not enter the society of one who does not that which is good in matters concerning himself. And this man is in revolt, with Jung Mo in his possession. If you go to him, how will the case stand?" "Yes," said the master, "those are indeed my words. But is it not said, What is hard may be rubbed without being PG95 made thin, and white may be stained without being made black. I am surely not a god. How am I to be strung up like that kind of thing and live without means? Footnote 1. Governor of a place in the Jin state. Footnote 2. Lit. And not eat. But, as Dr. Legg says, the words may be taken passively. How can I be hung up out of the way of being eaten? The commentators, however, say that Confucius had in his mind his own means of subsistence. I think these words again are all simple banter with Ziyu. "Zi, Lu," said the master, "you have heard of the 6 words with their 6 obfuscations?" "No," said he, "not so far. Sit down, and I will tell you them. They are these 6 virtues, cared for without care for any study about them: philanthropy, wisdom, faithfulness, straightforwardness, courage, firmness. And the 6 obfuscations resulting from not liking to learn about them are, respectively, these: fatuity, mental dissipation, mischievousness, perversity, insubordination, impetuosity." Footnote 1. A translator has to resort to a roundabout rendering this paragraph to avoid uncouthness of expression, a tautology. Poor Zilu comes in again for 6 hard thrusts. "My children," said he once, "why does no one of you study the odes? They are adapted to rouse the mind, to assist observation, to make people sociable, to arouse virtuous indignation. They speak of duties near and far, the duty of ministering to a parent, the duty of serving one's prince. And it is from them that one becomes conversant with the names of many birds and beasts and plants and trees." To his son Peyu he said, "Study you the odes of Chao and the South, and those of Shao and the South. The man who studies not these is, I should say, somewhat in the position of one who stands facing a wall." Footnote 1. The titles of the first 2 books in Part 1 of the Shiking. "Etiquette demands it, so people plead," said he. "But do not these hankerings after jewels and silks indeed demand it? Or it is, the study of music requires it. But do not these predilections for bells and drums require it?" Footnote 1. The rules of ceremonial and music should be valued for their chief objects, propriety and harmony. But everything that was good in its aim was distorted to subserve people's particular fancies. Again, they who assume an outward appearance of severity, being inwardly weak, may be likened to low common men. Nay, are they not somewhat like thieves that break through walls and steal? Again, the plebeian kind of respect for piety is the very pest of virtue. Footnote 1. This seems, like the next 2 or 3 paragraphs, to be directed against the vulgar ways of the men then in office. Again, listening on the road, and repeating in the lane, this is abandonment of virtue. Footnote 1. See last note. In at the ear and out at the mouth, say the commentaries. But they make the listening the hearing of good words or instructions, and the repeating the forwardness to discuss what has been so learnt on the same road, without allowing time to digest it. I think that, taken in connection with the preceding paragraph, it is simply an allusion to country gossip. "Ah, the low-minded creatures," he exclaimed. "How is it possible indeed to serve one's prince in their company? Before they have got what they wanted, they are all anxiety to get it. And after they have got it, they are all anxiety lest they should lose it. And while they are thus full of concern lest they should lose it, there is no length to which they will not go." Again, in olden times people had 3 moral infirmities, which, it may be, are now unknown. Ambitiousness in those olden days showed itself in momentary outbursts. The ambitiousness of today runs riot. Austerity in those days had its sharp angles. In these, it is irritable and perverse. Feebleness of intellect then was at least straightforward. In our day, it is never aught but deceitful. Again, rarely do we find mutual good feeling where there is fine speech and studied mien. Again, to me it is abhorrent that purple color should be made to detract from that of vermilion. Also, that the odes of ching should be allowed to introduce discord in connection with the music of the festal songs and hymns. Also, that sharp-whetted tongues should be permitted to subvert governments. Footnote 1. A wrong color. See Book 10.6. Footnote 2. See on Book 9.14 and Book 15.10. Footnote 3. Compare with Psalm 60 for point 3. Once said he, "Would that I could dispense with speech." "Sir," said Zikung, "if you were never to speak, what should your pupils have to hand down from you?" "Does heaven ever speak?" said the master. "The 4 seasons come and go, and all creatures live and grow. Does heaven indeed speak?" Footnote 1. There is rhythm and rhyme in the original. Once Rupi desired an interview with Confucius, from which the latter excused himself on the score of ill health. But while the attendant was passing out through the doorway with the message, he took his lute and sang in such a way as to let him hear him. Footnote 1. A former disciple who had lost his manners. He was now, in scenes, an official in Lu Underduke Gai. Saiwo questioned him respecting the 3 years' mourning, saying that 1 full 12-month was a long time that, if gentlemen were for 3 years to cease from observing rules of propriety, propriety must certainly suffer, and that if for 3 years they neglected music, music must certainly die out. And that seeing nature has taught us that when the old year's grain is finished, the new has sprung up for us. Seeing also that all the changes in procuring fire by friction have been gone through in the 4 seasons, surely a 12-month might suffice. The master asked him, "Would it be a satisfaction to you that returning to better food, that putting on the fine clothes?" "It would," said he. "Then if you can be satisfied in so doing, do so. But to a gentleman who is in mourning for a parent, the choicest food will not be palatable, nor will the listening to music be pleasant, nor will comforts of home make him happy in mind. Hence he does not do as you suggest. But if you are now happy in your mind, then do so." Saiwo went out, and the master went on to say, "It is want of human feeling in this man. After a child has lived 3 years, it then breaks away from the tender nursing of its parents. And this 3 years' mourning is the customary mourning prevalent all over the empire. Can this man have enjoyed the 3 years of loving care from his parents?" Footnote 1. For parents. Footnote 2. Different woods were adopted for this purpose at the various seasons. "It is difficult," said he, "to know what to make of those who are all day long cramming themselves with food and are without anything to apply their minds to. Are there no dice and chess players? Better, perhaps, join in that pursuit than do nothing at all." "Does a gentleman," asked Zilu, "make much account of bravery?" "Righteousness he counts higher," said the master. "A gentleman who is brave without being just may become turbulent, while a common person who is brave and not just may end in becoming a highwayman." Zikung asked, "I suppose a gentleman will have his aversions as well as his likings?" "Yes," replied the master. "He will dislike those who talk much about other people's ill deeds. He will dislike those who, when occupying inferior places, utter defamatory words against their superiors. He will dislike those who, though they may be brave, have no regard for propriety. And he will dislike those hastily decisive and venturesome spirits who are nevertheless so hampered by limited intellect. And you, too, Zikong, he continued, have your aversions, have you not? I dislike, said he, those plagiarists who wish to pass for wise persons. I dislike those people who wish their lack of humility to be taken for bravery. I dislike also those divulgers of secrets who think to be accounted straightforward. Footnote 1. This first sentence, at least, is a home thrust. Compare Book 14.31. Of all others, said the master, women servants and men servants are the most difficult people to have the care of. Approach them in a familiar manner, and they take liberties. Keep them at a distance, and they grumble. Footnote 1. Young women, by whom are meant, it is said, the secondary wives or concubines who were quasi-servants. Footnote 2. Or become disrespectful. Again, when a man meets with odium at 40, he will do so to the end. Thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more excellent content.